All right, welcome. I have a couple of absolutely fantastic philosophical, let's call them nuggets of wisdom or um, philosophical truths, certainties, if you will, that I would like to share. But first, let me set the stage by giving you a little background. I am a philosopher. I've always wanted to be a philosopher. When I first went to college in 2002, shows you how old I am, I wanted to major in philosophy, but I was told that there really aren't very many careers or professions that you can get with a philosophy degree. I guess other than being a philosophy professor is really, I guess you could write books. But it's not a profitable career is the point. So I chose other things. I ended up majoring in social sciences and sociology to be specific. And then after I graduated in 2007, I was not in good shape. Turns out I never in my life was I really in good shape. But it was at this point, graduating college, becoming having to transition into actual adulthood, I became really depressed. And so I joined the Marine Corps. I thought it would be a noble way to experience life and perhaps die in combat, or even perhaps the opportunity for glorious courage or bravery. And for some reason, as a sociology major, the Marine Corps felt like the right fit for me. Anyways, then I went to Afghanistan in 2009. And when I got back, I survived the war. Praise God. That's going to be a big subject here. Life did not get any better for me. I ended up, which is very, very common for returning war veterans. My life fell apart. I became an alcoholic. And within a couple of years, total collapse. My life completely fell apart. Total homelessness. I mean, no car. Just total homelessness. Even though I had family, but they were all sort of, which is also very common, they were kind of freaked out by my eventual behavior, which they probably perceived to be rather insane. Which again, very fortunately, this is common for veterans. It doesn't happen to everybody. It happens to some people. So then I ended up moving on with my life. I got married. I bought a house. I raised a family. Started a business. Got my master's degree in mental health counseling. So I have a master's of education. And then, of course, it all fell apart again because the kind of person I was when I got married was a complete mess. So, they say when you find a partner, you find a mirror to yourself. So I found somebody else who was also a complete mess, and it ended up being a terrible marriage. So I lost it all in divorce. I lost my house, my business, my family. Fortunately, I still have my dog, which is one of the few things in the world I can truly say I love. The other two things are piano and the James Webb Space Telescope, but maybe I'll talk more about those later. Anyways, just hang tight. I'm getting to something really profound. Um, so anyways, 10 years after getting back from Afghanistan, I finally got a disability rating at the VA. Um, it would have been nice if if they could have recognized that sooner, but that's the nature of these sorts of things. It's difficult to earn a complete disability rating. Well, let me say I earned it. And so that kind of brings me to where I am now. I am divorced and I live alone. I live with my two little dogs. And thank God for the VA. Honestly, if it wasn't for the Department of Veterans Affairs, I might not be alive today. But anyways, I have a very unique opportunity in my life right now to be a philosopher. Like, all I do all day is, well, other than, torment myself in my own agony of mental health problems, which is brutal and unbearable at times, but that's not the point of this discussion. I have a lot of time to contemplate the big questions. The big questions about existence and the universe. Philosophy, basically. I love all kinds of philosophy, all kinds of science. So I dove real deep into theology for a long time, like obsessively into theology. I was drawn to Christianity in particular because I was sort of desperate for love. I didn't feel love from the universe. And Christianity promises a God that loves you. Which that didn't turn out too well either, unfortunately. So anyways, the point is, I've had a lot of time to think about these big questions. And I study philosophy every day. I listen to professional philosophers of all sorts. I love listening to atheists and theologians debate, that sort of thing. So, here's my huge philosophical conclusions that I can say. I've got two of them, and one I can say with certainty, and the other one I can say without certainty. The big questions of philosophy. The two big questions are the existence of God. Who is God? Does God even exist? That's one of the biggest, most important questions of philosophy. And that's the one I can safely not answer. I am not convinced either way. I would like to believe in a God, and I would like to. There's some advantages to it. Although there's just so much, as far as I'm concerned, evidence in my own life that we live in a strictly naturalistic universe made of particles and physics and chemistry and biology and brain chemicals. So I got my master's degree in mental health counseling and psychology. I fancy myself a neurologist, and actually I'm planning on returning to school. I want to become a doctor in psychiatric medicine. Because I think about these things. I think about the brain, I think about psychology, and honestly, it's all sort of in some sort of desperate attempt to help myself. Not to great success, by the way. If God is real, I've been blessed with immense intelligence, but it's come at a terribly high cost. Most people are not philosophers, is the point. And the high cost is I'm insanely intelligent, but I'm also insane to some degree. My whole life I've lacked something crucial that normal people have. I would define it as common sense, which, believe me, it's difficult. It makes me difficult to spend time with. Like, I don't enjoy other people. I don't enjoy normal things. I wish I could. I wish I could relax and watch a football game or something. But so it's the curse of immense intelligence, I guess. Anyways, it makes me ideal for these sorts of things, studying philosophy. So the first big question I can give you, and I'm sorry I can't give you a better answer, but I guess I have firmly fallen in the agnostic category because I want to believe there's a God. I just don't see. I just don't see it. And I've got a couple of good reasons for that. One, I don't think I've ever met a real, true Christian in my life. I don't think I've ever met somebody who has genuinely been kind to me, which is kind of sad. And I'm currently struggling with just grappling the existential existence of love in the universe. Yeah, that one's rough. These are some of the downfalls of intensely studying philosophy like I do. Anyways, here's the big one. And this one I can firmly say, well, I guess nothing can really be 100% true, but as far as I'm concerned, this is 100% true. And if anyone is listening to this and has made it to the end here for me to give you the big one, you might not like it. You might not like the conclusion here. You might likely not even understand what I'm trying to say here, but this is the other big question in philosophy. Is what is free will? And this I can tell you, as a brain scientist and a psychologist, and I want to be a psychiatrist and a philosopher, I can safely say there is no such thing in the universe as free will. So do with that what you like, interpret it as you will. But what I mean by this is, I'm not saying there's no consequences to actions, because of course there are. We live in a deterministic universe where one action causes another action. But what I'm saying is, the course that someone lives out their life is not up to them at all. It's completely driven by brain chemistry and biology and cultural upbringing, and sadly it's very intensely based on childhood experiences. And so what this means is that if somebody becomes a murderer or somebody does something bad in the world, I'm saying it's not really truly their fault. There are reasons in physics and biology that made these people do these things. And one way to apply this is, let's say you suffered childhood abuse from a parent or something, and as an adult you're trying to grasp, why did this happen to me? Why did somebody who loved me do this to me? And the best answer I can give you is, they were just doing what they knew how to do. Which is curious, because if people end up being good, it's not necessarily something they chose to be. For example, one reason I was initially drawn to Christianity was, first, the desperate attempt to find love in the universe. But the other one is the characteristics of Christians, and kindness being one of those primary characteristics. I can safely say that I think I might be one of the most kind people I have ever met in my life. I guess if you could say you've met yourself. And what I mean by that is I am absolutely incapable of intentionally harming anyone or anything, like animals. For example, I have my two little dogs that, if I can dare say the word love, I love them. And the amount of love I pour onto these two little creatures is immense and incredible. And there's a bit of a sadness to it because I feel like, again, I'm going to use this euphemism. If God had blessed me with children, my love and kindness would have been better suited to pour onto a human instead of an animal. There's more intrinsic value in humans, at least in the long term, and theoretically, of course, propagating the species and whatnot, which unfortunately is something I think I'm not going to experience in my life. There's one of my little guys now. Must be a bite. When a bicycle goes by, my little guard dogs go nuts. Anyway, and these are not my choices. Like, I didn't choose, per se, to become a disabled person. If I had the choice, I would absolutely choose not to be disabled. And I am mentally disabled, people. I have all my fingers and toes. Thank God. Thank God. I use this language that's been taught to me, and I use it. In fact, my sign off when I talk to people, I say, God bless you. For whatever that means. I guess I'm hanging on to this hope that we don't live in a purely naturalistic universe, and there is something after this life. Which is hopeful. And I guess if given the choice, I would choose that. And even though in my own philosophical grapplings, I often rage against God sometimes, if he's real. But one belief about God, that if he's real, that I continue to hang on to, is that if he is real and perfectly loving, then somehow the agony that I experience every day of my life, being a tortured soul, will somehow be justified in the end. And here's another fantastic point is, I am not afraid, if God is real, I'm not afraid of hell at all. Because I know that if he's a perfectly loving God, then I'm definitely not going to hell. In fact, I think it's very confusing that God would send anybody to hell for finite bad decisions to be punished for eternity. Doesn't quite seem fair in some way. But neither has the hand that I've been dealt. I don't think it's particularly fair. Being cursed to be so intellectual that I find other people sometimes unbearable. Oh, that's a curse right there. But somehow, maybe there could be some sort of perfect judgment at the end, and some sort of... I like to think there must be some other dimension, though, that we're not seeing. I love how science and philosophy still can't prove the single most important question in the universe, which is, who is God? Does he even exist? But who is he? What's his character? I don't think that question can be answered. But on the question of free will, people, I can safely say, I do not think that there is free will in the universe. Um, this makes me feel a lot better about. I playfully call myself insane, but the correct term would be mental illness to varying degrees. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. Like, I didn't choose per se to become a philosopher. This is just the brain chemistry that I have and the experiences that I had in childhood, and this has brought me to where I am today, to be cursed and blessed to sit around all day. And I play a lot of piano. I can tell you piano is one of the few things in the universe I truly love. So, anyways, with that, I say God bless you, people. If there is God, I say God bless you. If there is love, I say I love you. But the most important takeaway I can give you here is, even though there is no such thing as free will, please, for the love of God, be kind to one another. Kindness is quite possibly the most important commodity for humanity. Okay, so that took way longer to explain than I was planning, but I hope you enjoy. God bless you.